And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday Afternoon QSO-VLOG Network. This is a directed network, and I am net control. If at any time during this net, should an emergency arise, please notify net control, and we will stand by and allow those in need to access this frequency. Is there any priority or emergency traffic at this time? Sir, are you emergency traffic or priority traffic?
Oh, I didn't know you were doing that, Jim. I thought you were doing the audio check things. I got a lot of noise over here.
Roger. Not yet. We're just doing the intro, sir. Stand by, please. And hearing nothing in the priority or emergency traffic area, we will continue. This net is all about ham radio. If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We're recording now live till 5, and then we'll post it up on YouTube so you can come by later and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, and that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, where we're now featuring about 1,300 QSO-VLOG Aircheck recordings. Our mission statement for the QSO-VLOG network is to establish a higher technical level of radio transmissions of the human voice by the intelligent utilization of available electronics in current amateur radio transceivers. Our setup, while generic in nature, converts the average 10 dB dynamic range transmitter with an average 30% of peak modulation to a much fuller 3 dB dynamic range with an average 80 to 85% of peak modulation. This substantial boost in audio transmit level is extremely beneficial in high noise levels and heavy QRM. It allows you to punch through when others fail. The second part of our transmitter setup has to do with proper mic equalization. And in that regards, the equalization we're talking about optimizes the transmitted voice for a higher degree of intelligibility, and this is through the use of EQ patterns that bring out the articulation aspects of the human voice. Again, why need to hear the voice if you can't understand the words? Also this afternoon on the receive side, we're running 4 Internet Sdr receivers monitoring Rochester, New York, Milford, Pennsylvania, Atlanta, Georgia, and Arlington, Virginia, trying to get the best copy from our 100-watt friends. Now the audio from these 4 Sdr receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also on this selector is our local receiver audio. And today our local receiver is running 2 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas. One aimed north and south, the other east and west. The north and south mag loop can be rotated. They are selected by a 3-position rotary selector. Position 3 of this selector is a co-phase option that many times is 3 to 4 dB hotter than mag loop 1 or 2 by themselves. We do use a lot of rotary selectors in our shack, mainly because there's nothing faster than a rotary switch for comparing multiple signals. Well, those are our working conditions. How about yours? This is the Friday Afternoon QSO-VLOG Network. And now let's check in and see if Charlie K1GZL is on frequency to bring us up to date on the latest 40-meter band propagation. Charlie's QTH is up north in northern New Hampshire, near the Canadian border. Charlie, got a copy?
Yes, Jim, I have a beautiful copy, direct. My power's down a bit. It's raining. No, well, the rain is just starting to end under a half an inch. And we've had we've lost about 60% of our leaves are off the trees. But I'm copying you very well, Jim. 15 over 9. I'm copying you direct. Go ahead.
Roger, Charlie. I thought you was going to say you lost 50% of your power. I was going to say, well, it certainly is booming in here. We were on our local mag loop, and you were probably about a 10 over, and just had a little noise there in the background, so we switched over to Rochester Sdr, and you're giving them about a 20 over, so we got rid of our noise. Roger.
Okay, Roger. I've got something that you might find interesting. A year and 1/2 ago, in other words, 18 months ago on tomorrow's date, and that brings us back to April 3rd. I had a guest in the shack, VK3 Mike Ontario. I had VK3MO. His home is northwest of Melbourne, Australia, and I make a mistake on the tape when I'm introducing him. I say Melbourne, Florida, but actually it was Melbourne, Australia. And I'd like to play a little bit of that interview when he was right here. And it was a very interesting situation that occurred while he was right in the shack. But first of all, here is Ian on this 2nd of October 2019 this morning in Melbourne, directly on 40 on 7150. Here he is.
Perfect, the Kilo 3 Mike Oscar in Melbourne, good to hear, Charlie. And we've had a beautiful day, a beautiful sunny day, got up to about 20 degrees Celsius.
Okay, now that was Ian. Here is Ian in the shack 1.5 years ago as of tomorrow's date. I think this is it here. I hope. And pardon me, it is not. It is April 3rd, 2019. This is K1GZL, and I have a guest in the shack here, VK3 Mexico, Ontario, who lives northwest of Melbourne, Florida there, and here he is.
Good evening, good morning, whatever it might happen to be. Yeah, it's a pleasure being here at Charlie's. We've just been outside looking at the antennas. Bit of snow coming down, pretty freezing cold. We just travelled down from Quebec City today, had a beautiful drive. Clear weather. It's only when we got to Clarksville that the weather turned bad. It's lovely to be here and looking at Charlie's window across beautiful view, distant view down the hill, and
Ian, I hope that came through.
Roger, Charlie, had to switch around right there at the end. I was in Arlington for a moment and in Georgia for a moment. You were everywhere, but kind of fading out as I would get one. You were loud and then started to fade, so I wound up on my local antenna. But we got, I guess, about 95% of that. Roger.
Blizzard is what we call a squall. We call that a squall. In other words, an intense amount of snow coming down very quickly.
I got the double, sir.
And I told him in 10 minutes it will be over, and I'm going to have to pull the shade down because the sun will be right back in our faces like it was a short time ago. And he says, that's most remarkable. And boy, that actually happened. 10 minutes later, the shade came down, the sun was in our faces. Go ahead, Jim. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie, we doubled there for part of that, but I did catch your interview with your Australian counterpart. That was good. We did have a fade right at the end of that, and I kind of went through my SDRs, and as I was going, as I would come up on one of the SDRs, it would be loud, and then it would fade, and I would go to the next one, and it was loud, then fade, and I finally worked myself back to my local antenna, Roger.
Okay, well, how are you copying right now?
20 over on Rochester.
Okay, well, as I was mentioning, you probably missed it, Ian, right after I had gotten off. I had, he had talked, and I handed him the mic. Ian says, Charlie, we're having a blizzard. I said, well, no, Ian, it's a squall. That's an intense amount of snow coming down with high winds, but it won't last long. It'll last about 10 minutes, and the sun will be back down. I'll have to pull down the shade, and that's exactly what happened. The sun came out right through the window, and down came the shade to black it out. And that snow was up to our chest. our chest on the level ground when all this occurred. The older snow was still there. Go ahead.
Are you saying you had snow that was 5 feet or 5.5 feet deep?
5.5 feet deep?
Well, it was actually about 4.5. It was there was well over 45 inches of snow on the level ground on April 3rd, 2019, and he and his wife, his ex-wife Ruth, were absolutely flabbergasted. Amazing to see it. Go ahead.
Oh, roger that. I just, I can't fathom that much snow in one place like that, Roger.
Well, this is snow country up here. This is snow country. Last October, we didn't have one flake of snow. Normally, we get about 10 to 15 inches in the month of October. And this October, it's beginning to look like eventually we'll get more snow. But there goes the phone. So back to you, Jim.
Roger, Charlie. Well, I see Destiny is calling you. It's probably our good friends from India or Pakistan with another amazing scam offer. I don't know. Anyway, this is KC9VKV, the QSO-VLOG net, and Charlie's answering the phone. Charlie, you there?
Yeah, I'll just let it ring because it's probably some kind of an ad or something. I'll get it later. Okay, Jim, it's a pleasure, and we'll catch you next week. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. 3's that way. That's Destiny calling now. Maybe. Have a good afternoon. Thanks for joining us, and we always appreciate your recordings and your contacts and all the information that you share with us. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. My name is Jim, and I'm better known in some circles as Dr. VKV. And we're recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We'll post this recording up on YouTube in the next couple of days, so when you go to YouTube, just do a call letter search for KC9VKV, that's Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, where we're running about 1,300 recorded QSO-VLOGs. And you'll be looking for one vlog in particular, and it would be my group Aircheck 10 to 20. And we have a new way of trying to access this. YouTube used to put it right on page 1, and it was fairly easy to find by using a call letter search, but now I find that sometimes they put it quite a bit lower than that into other areas that require a little treadway to get there. So I think if you do my group Aircheck and then today's date, 10 to 20, that will take you right to this recording. So it would be a YouTube search for my group Aircheck 10 to 20. Or you could use KC9VKV 10 to 20, and that would take you right to it. Anyway, we're recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Victor Alpha 3, Victor Mike Delta.
Victor Alpha 3 station, come back with your call sign again, slowly, phonetically.
Yeah, hey, good afternoon, Jim. It's Victor America 3, Victor Mike Delta. You're a good friend north of the border in Unionville, Ontario. How you doing, my friend?
Yes, sir. Well, I'm good to talk at you. I'm copying you on Rochester at about 15 over, Roger.
Yeah, very good. Well, you know, Jim, we've always talked about you having that pipeline into Canada and Quebec, so as it's been proven, you've pretty much got it all over the world, Roger?
Well, we just mainly concentrate on the East Coast, from Montreal to Miami, with a hot spot through the Carolinas.
Yeah, very good, Jim. I did a few tweets on the audio
Frequencies in use, sir.
earlier this week. I just was wondering how you're seeing me on the scope over there. Everything sounding okay?
Oh, excellent. Yes, 3 dB dynamic range. Audio EQ is nice and intelligently EQ'd. Roger?
Intelligently EQ'd. Roger?
Yeah, okay, very good. Yeah, I just did a little minor tweak, and I seem to be getting some favorable reports. Not that I wasn't getting them before, because I know you've recorded a few times our QSOs, and the audio has been very good from a feedback perspective, from what you gave and from what I heard there, Jim. What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, we've been working on our command post, mobile command post, so to speak. It's a old ambulance that we're restoring and getting ready for, trying to get some radio equipment in there. But the wife, she has other ideas, so I'm really having to fight for every inch of radio area. Roger?
Fight for every inch of radio area. Roger?
Yeah, very good, Roger. Hey, listen, I did want to make one more comment before I get out of here, and I'm not going to tie up your airtime because I'm sure there's other stations that can use your help. But I showed my wife your vlog on the QRMer. I think it was last night you posted it, and you made some really, really great points that were not only applicable to the QRMer, but to other areas and aspects of our lives. So my wife just wanted to commend you on that great 10-minute rant that you went on the other day. Roger?
Roger, there's another station, sir. Other station, this is a control net. And I'm in QSO right now with VA3 VMD up in Canada. Yes, and I was going to get the number on that so we could use that, so that folks could find that. I'll have it next week. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start using searches for topical segments. We've got 1,300 recorded segments, and they're all, all different things. Matter of fact, I do have one that I was going to mention today, and this has to do with Bob, W8LXJ, and he's got a great story about Tokyo Rose. And our government was trying to get a good copy on her, and they were, in Honolulu, and they had this beverage antenna that was many miles long. So if you might be interested in that story, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the numbers 1462. So that's KC9VKV 1462 to hear Bob talk about Tokyo Rose. Back to you up in Canada, Roger.
Back to you up in Canada, Roger.
Yeah, okay, Jim, no problem. It's Vito, by the way, Victor India Tango Oscar. Yeah, very good. We'll check that out. And just for those who are listening, the QRMer that was on the other day that you posted the video on was actually a vlog with Rick, K0RIC, and Art, N4QNT. I'll repeat. Do a search on KC9VKV, QSO-VLOG, Rick, K0RIC, and Art, N4QNT, and you'll hear Jim's spiel on QRMers. And again, it was a very, very interesting rant that Jim went on. Jim, always a pleasure, and you take care. We'll listen for you next Friday. I'm going to have a new microphone probably in line next Friday, so we'll get your critique on it. The VA3 VMD Vito up in Unionville, Ontario. 73 Jim and TGIF.
Roger, Vito. Now, how are you going to top the microphone that you have right at the moment?
Well, listen, Jim. Perfectionists, unfortunately, always strive for that next level. Whether they reach it or not, it's not important. It's the striving to the next level that counts. Roger?
Oh, that's true. That's words of wisdom there. You always need to continue to try to do better than that you were yesterday. And that's one thing about A/B test and old antennas and new antennas. As a matter of habit, I never get rid of an old antenna as I put up a new antenna, because I use the old antenna as a reference point to the new antenna on an A/B test, A/B switch. Well, usually it's an ABCDE switch, but I'm always curious as to how my new antenna is faring against my old antenna. And if you take your old antenna down, you have no way to tell for sure that you're better than where you were, Roger.
You're better than where you were, Roger.
Yep, so true, and it's always a good thing to do. At least you have some reference points, as in anything we do. It's all procedural, and even when it comes to troubleshooting, it's a process of elimination. You can't go A to Z. You got to go through the alphabet, and you'll probably save yourself a heck of a lot more time there, Jim. Hey, buddy, always a pleasure. 73 from the Canuck north of the border. Vito from Unionville, Ontario. 73, Jim.
Roger, Vito, 3Z sir. Thanks for dropping by. Always a pleasure. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
You want to check out, give me a shout.
Somebody real loud. I just caught the tail end of it on my local antenna. Come back and try it again.
Kilo Alpha 9, Golf Lima Alpha.
Golf Lima Alpha station. Come back slowly with your call sign phonetically.
Roger. Kilo Alpha 9, Golf Lima Alpha.
Roger, and what's the name there? Golf Lima Alpha.
Roger, the name is Mark. Mike, Alpha Romeo Kilo.
Roger, Mark, and what's your location, sir?
Just about 10 miles west of Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Roger, and what radio are you running today?
I'm running a Yaesu 991 Alpha.
Roger. Well, I think we could probably help out a little bit on your EQ situation. You sound like you might be a little on the bottom end heavy side. I would advise, if you would be interested in a little more intelligibility, if you knew where your equalization was, we might do a little work on that area, Roger.
Roger, I can find that.
All right. What I'm looking for is a little more top end for articulation purposes. You know, when you have a nice bottom end there, and when you have that bottom end, rather than roll it off, I would like to see more a higher degree of top end to try to strike a balance with that, and then you have a very broad pattern, but very intelligible. Roger?
Okay, Roger. I've turned the equalizer on. And let me see.
Okay, just what I need for you to do is tell me what kind of equalizer do you have? Is it a 2-band, 3-band, or what?
Oh, no, it's just the one on the rig.
Yes, sir. Is that a 3-band? In other words, in your equalizer, do you have 3 controls, top, medium, and bottom end?
No, negative. All it is mic equalizer on or off. Right now it's on.
Yes, but you have, certainly you must have control over the technical aspects of the equalizer.
I would have to go into the menu. I don't know where that is offhand.
Alrighty, let me give you a couple of notes there, and then you can crank it in as you find that in your manual, Roger?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay, you are a little heavy on the bottom end, so I would take, if you have, I'm not sure what kind of equalizer you have, but what I'm looking for is a low end roll of 3 dB on the bottom end side. 3 dB roll on the bottom. and leave your mid-range control flat. The whole idea behind the equalizer is to balance the top to the middle and the bottom to the middle. And if you advance your middle, it's hard for the top and the bottom to catch up. So if you have a 3-band EQ, leave that middle EQ flat. And then go to the top end and crank in 3 dB more top end EQ. Roger, roger. So to review, you're going to roll 3 off the bottom and crank in 3 additional on the top from where the equalizer sits at the moment.
Roger, roger, understood. I will try to do that, and I thank you for the information.
Roger, roger. Now I hear just a little bit of mouth noise, not very much, but just a little bit. So I would suggest that if you get a chance to, are you using a hand mic or desk mic?
It's a desk mic, Yaesu MD100.
Okay, I would, just as an experiment, try moving back about 2 inches, additional 2 inches back a little further from where you're working that mic. 2 inches back from where you're working the mic, and let me hear you there.
Okay, 2 inches further back. I have a bad habit of drawing myself in on the microphone. Go ahead.
Yes, so that did a bunch of good there. You can forget that bottom end roll, but you want to work that mic just like you were working it. It sounds much better that way, and it's a lot more intelligible. So be sure and work that mic just like that, Roger?
Yes, sir. Roger, roger. Thank you. I'll forget about the bottom end roll.
Roger. I would still go ahead and crank in the top, though. I would go ahead and crank in the top for articulation purposes, Roger. So it's like, what's the good of hearing somebody if you can't understand what they're saying? So the whole idea is to increase the intelligibility by EQing intelligently and trying to get a little more articulation out of the microphone. In the perfect world, we might not need all that, but, a lot of times we are not exactly with the strength of the signal to somebody else that we would like. So we're fighting their noise, or they're fighting our modulation to understand it in the noise or in QRM. So the more articulated your audio is, the easier it is for them to understand what you're saying, Roger?
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. And did not realize I was way up too close on the microphone. So I'll follow that guideline very well.
Roger, Mark. Well, there's no such thing as too close. If you want run a foam windscreen, you can be right up on that mic, but you have to EQ for that situation. Because the closer you work a microphone, there's a thing that's called proximity effect. And the closer you work a microphone, you have this bass buildup, the closer you get to it. And because of that, you have to take deliberate steps to EQ the curve to make allowances for tight miking, like in my situation, and if you're interested in hearing what you sound like, we're recording now live to a 5, so if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, and then if you do a search on that, well, actually, I tell you what, when you go to YouTube, do a KC9VKV 10-220, today's date. In other words, our call sign KC9VKV followed by the numbers 10-220, today's date, and that will take you right to this recording, and you can see the difference that it made when you backed off mic some. Roger?
Roger, Lynn. Thank you very much. And I appreciate for giving me the time and the critique. You have a good day. I'll let you go, KC9VKV.
Hey, KC2QIM, why are you changing your voice again, Peter?
This is a control net, please. Frequencies in use. And okay, Mark, 3 Z-Ways, sir. We've enjoyed it. And again, when you find out where your controls for your EQ reside, then just crank in 3 on the top, and you'll be in good shape. So 3 Z-Way. Have a great afternoon. This is KC9VKV, the QSO-VLOG net. And if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Whiskey 9, November, Sierra Echo.
November 0, Sugar Mike.
There's a Whiskey 9, what was the rest?
Whiskey 9, November, Sierra Echo, W9NSE, QSO.
Roger, and what's the name there? Whiskey 9, northern, southern, eastern directions.
Yeah, Roger there, Jim. West 9, north, southeast. The name here is Corey, Charlie, Oscar, Romeo, Echo, Yankee, and I'm in central Wisconsin. Good to talk to you, long-time listener, first-time caller. Back to you.
Yes, sir. Now, what radio are you running, Carl? Or Corey?
Here, Jim, is a Yaesu FTDX 3000. We're running 100 watts into 40-meter double bazooka, and we've got the processor set to 30 of 100, or 30%, and we've got the gain at about half to 2/3. Beyond that, I would welcome any help you can give me. Back to you.
Yes, sir, Corey. Your dynamic range looks perfect. Your 3 dB dynamic range might need a little more top-end EQ if you know where your equalizer is, and can crank in about 3 dB top-end EQ. I'd like to hear that.
Okay, give me 1 second here, Jim. And let's see, I have it. I've actually got the top end maxed out right now. Let's see, I've got a range of 1 to 10, and I've got it on 10. Back to you.
Roger. Well, you're headed in the right direction, sir, for sure. Now, if you're that extensively EQ'd and you're still where you are, I might suggest that you maybe look around for another microphone that would have a little more top end to begin with. Roger.
Okay, well, the only other one I have for another mic would be the hand mic that came with the rig. The mic I'm on right now is a Heil PR781. I've got the mid set to -8, and let's see here. I've got the mid set to -8 and the low set to 5. Over.
Roger, you were down into my noise level. Mother Nature is playing some games there, so you did have a reduction there in signal strength. To me, repeat that last if you could, sir.
Okay, you bet. Yeah, let's see, the low on that at a 5, the mid on that at -8, and the high on that at 10, which is the max. Over.
Okay, Corey, what we want to do, you have a 3-band EQ, so what we want to do is keep that mid-range EQ flat. The whole idea behind an equalizer is to balance the top to mids and the bottom to mids. And if we advance the mids, it's so much harder for the top and the bottom to catch up for balance. So I suggest that you keep your mid-range flat, and then let's see what we got there. Roger?
Okay, Roger. We've got the mid-level here is flat at 0. W9NSE 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. W9NSE.
Roger, Corey. Oh, that helped immensely. You have to be very careful about the mid-range because, that is another intelligibility area there. You can have all the top end and bottom end you want, but if you don't have mid-range, there goes the neighborhood. So, but ultimately, it is a balance between the mid-range to top and mid-range to bottom, and so it's important that you keep your mid-range flat as you work on your balance. That is so true to the fact that the ICOM 7300 only has a top and a bottom EQ. They realize that they're going, that folks should keep their mid-range flat, so they don't even bother putting a mid-range control in there. It's just the top and the bottom because you're balancing that to the mid-range. Roger?
Okay, well, yeah, I appreciate that insight, and that's why I'm calling in to get some expert help here. So hopefully that's a little better. I've now got the, 175 dimension-driven EQ. So 175 is again on the max. That would be the high, and the low is on 5. So we got plus 5 dB on the low and plus 10 dB on the high and 0 on the mid. KC9 Victor, Kilo Victor, Whiskey 9 November, Sierra Echo, Corey, Central Wisconsin.
Roger. Sounds beautiful. I wouldn't touch a thing. I would fly it like that and see who salutes. And if you get a chance, join us next Friday and let me know how it's going. Roger?
Okay, real good. Well, I appreciate the help. And just mention here on the air, we did watch your documentary on YouTube there, your story, and very interesting career. And highly recommend it to anybody else who happens to be listening. And we appreciate the help. You've had a really interesting career, and real good to meet you on the air here. So, back to you. KC9 Victor, Kilo Victor, W9.
Roger, Corey. I appreciate that. And we do, QSO-VLOG is an offset program from our main program, which is Jim Ferguson's radio story, where we celebrate 50 years of broadcasting. We have about 750 segments of the radio story, and then about 1,300 segments of our QSO-VLOG. So there's something in there for everybody. And so we'll say threes to you, Corey, and join us next Friday if you can. This is KC9VKV, the QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
November 0, Kilo Golf 0, Uniform Hotel.
Alrighty, Kilo Golf. And what was that?
Kilo Golf 0, Uniform Hotel.
Kilo Golf 0 Uniform Hotel. Roger. What's the name there?
Yeah, Jim, the name is Dick. I've been on the last 2 Fridays and finally got some information back from Yaesu concerning my compression.
Yes. What did they say?
Well, they said adjust it to a dynamic range of between 5 and 10 decibels, and it's about where I am now.
Roger. That would equate to now. What kind of control do you have that controls the input level to your compressor? What is it? A rotary dial, a slider, or what?
It's a rotary dial.
Okay, and so you should be probably about 10 o'clock, 10:30 in there?
Well, it's actually adjusted by, well, let me see where I am here. It's processor level, and it's at 50. And with the peak, it goes to 10 dB. Most of the time, it's around 5 or below.
Roger. Yeah, you want it at 5. You don't want 10. That's a little too hot. You should be 5, 6, somewhere in there. And then once you get that level, then go to your ALC and adjust for mid-scale to 2/3, and you will be at 3 dB dynamic range, which is exactly where you want to be.
Okay. Does it seem a little bit too hot right now?
Come back and give me a 10 or 15 on your antenna and let me hear you.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Sounds good. Now, you know, the test for that, to see just how much compression you're running, is to a dead key without saying anything and look at your watt meter and see how far the meter reads a dead key. And if it's up there, you know, then you've got too much compression because you're showing room noise. Roger?
Dead key, it's at 0, and I did put a windsock on the mic, and I have a Heil GM5 mic.
Roger. Now, dead key once again, please. Was that you? I'll tell you what, key, and then after 2 seconds of dead key, say 1.
1.
Yeah, somebody else is playing games. Our QRMer is at work, even as we try to conduct our experiments. It just burns them up because they're so stupid. But that's the way QRMers are. They're psychopaths. And, you know, it's what's to do. So I did not hear any room noise. So did you see any on your meter at all?
Negative. No room noise at all.
Excellent. Yes, that's what I thought. So you're fine there, and I would just leave it like that. You're, you know, you are running 3 dB curve as far as you know, dynamic range, and that's exactly where you want to be. So I would button it up and get the duct tape out. Roger.
Okay, and the ALC is that's up towards the top. It's 7 or 8 out of 10.
That's all right. You could be just a tad hot. What's your mic level right now?
It was 25, and I turned it down to 20.
Yes, I think that's ideal. So now your ALC is running a mid-scale to 2/3?
Yes, it is.
Roger, that's exactly where you want to be.
Okay, perfect. Well, I appreciate it very much. I got all of the mic equalizer and processor numbers from Heil, so I think we're in good shape. And I did talk with the gentleman. I'm in the Kansas City area, and I did talk with the gentleman down in Mexico City, and he said that I had broadcast quality audio. So kudos to you, Jim.
Well, thank you, sir. You know, somebody said that, you know, we don't need FM broadcast quality, but, you know, the whole thing is not just, you know, that for the sake of that. You know, it's for the sake of folks, you know, down the road 600 miles being able to perceive the words that you're saying, even though you're being challenged by QRMers or, you know, noise or whatever, you know. So the more intelligent and, you know, articulated your audio is, the curve, the better off we are, sir.
Okay, I appreciate your help, and I'm sure that everyone else does as well. So 73, and go Chiefs.
Roger. And what was your location again?
The city is Olathe, Kansas, and that's in the southwest corner of Kansas City.
Roger. And your radio?
Yaesu FTDX 3000.
Yes, that's a beautiful radio. Beautiful radio. Hey, you're lucky to have that, sir, and it just sounds marvelous. And if you get a chance to hear it, go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and today's date 10/2/20. KC9 on a YouTube search KC9VKV followed by the date 10/2/20. I will take you right to this recording. Roger.
Okay, Jim. Thanks. I appreciate it a lot. 73. 9VKV, KG's RUH.
This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. I have one of my SDRs down. My Georgia SDR is down, and also my Milford SDR is down. So I got to do just a little bit of homework to bring things up here. Unfortunately, Milford is not to be brought up at this point because it is down for the count. I guess too many people are. That's the thing about it, you know. I tell people where I am, and then all of a sudden that particular SDR receiver is full up because everybody's gone there to check it out, and so I get locked out. But anyway, this is KC9VKV. I'm bringing back up Atlanta, so that got, I guess, in my rant, ran out of time. We do have this thing about, many of them have a 20-minute rule. If you don't do something in 20 minutes, they decide you're not there. Although in my case, I'm not doing anything but listening to the SDR, so I'm not really creating a pattern that they can recognize as somebody there. But anyway, so I got Atlanta up, I've got Rochester up, and I've got Arlington up. So this is KC9VKV again, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
November
Whiskey 7 Charlie Sierra Alpha.
Whiskey 7 station, come back with a call sign again, please.
Yeah, Whiskey 7 Charlie Sierra Alpha, Whiskey 7 Charlie Sierra Alpha. Name's Robert, and I'm located in Gastonia, North Carolina. And that is 20 miles west of Charlotte, over.
Roger, Robert. And what radio are you running, sir?
I got the Yaesu FTDX 3000.
Oh, man, we're getting a slew of those FTDX 3000s. Let me see, 3000. Alrighty, and come back and talk about your antenna there for 10 or 15, and let me hear your audio, sir.
Yeah, I'm just running 100 watts here, going to a 40-meter dipole. It's up about 50 feet. It's oriented to the southwest, to the northeast. And I'm using a Howell PR781 microphone, and not using any outboard equipment, just using the compressor limiter and the parametric EQ that's inside of the radio, over.
Well, Roger, Roger. So you're running your compressor at about a 3?
Run it at a 4.
I'd put it back to a 3 because you start to hear a 4. That was the whole reason we chose a 3, is because it's totally invisible to the ear. And we could make our 3 dB dynamic range at a 3, so that's why we decided to be as unobtrusive about the setup. You know, the really neat part about the correct setup is you can't hear anything working. It just is loud.
Oh, yeah, okay, roger that. Yeah, I backed her down to a 3.
Yes, sir. Your dynamic range is still 3, which is exactly where you want to be. You know, the difference is your normal generic transmitter without processing is 10 dB dynamic range. And for broadcast, we want to convert that to 3 dB. So by running your compressor at a 3 and then adjusting your mic gain to make your ALC meter run mid-scale to 2/3, you will be exactly at a 3. Roger?
Yeah, roger that. Well, I noticed one thing with this, too, is that with the mic gain, it's hard to tell any difference much past about 28, between 28 and 30 until you get way up to about 80%. So, yeah, I think I have to go look. I think I got the mic gain probably set at about 30.
Yeah, well, wherever you've got it set, it's perfect because you have your limiter is banging right at the same point on every peak. It's nothing's shooting through. It's stonewalling it right at the exact point every time. So that it means that you're driving that limiter a little bit to make sure that it's doing that. And that's exactly what you want. And the end result is a 3 dB dynamic audio range. And that means that your average percent of peak modulation is between 80 and 85%, which is just perfect.
Yeah, roger that. Well, you're putting 20 dB over on me here. I just wonder what I was doing with you. But I know, well, now, as far as the bottom end, is the bottom end sounding okay? Because I know when I first set this up, I was having problems. Looks like probably around 100K. Looks like I have a peak in my voice. And I think I got that out, but I know it was sounding a little muddy when I first started playing with it a few months back.
Right, now you mean 100 cycles, right? Not 100K, 100 cycles. I'm looking at my spectrum analyzer, and you don't have any problems in that lower end. You could maybe crank it in a little bit more if you wanted to, but I like it where you are. You have very good intelligibility, and that's the whole name of the game, you know.
Roger. Yeah, I'm in 100 cycles. I get it mixed up. I don't know why. All right, man. Well, hey, thanks a lot. I hadn't been able to get in here and talk to you in a while. I've been real busy with work, but let me get out of here and let someone else get in here and give some help. But hey, man, thanks a lot. Appreciate what you're doing, and hope you have a good one. I hope you're avoiding the virus, and hope we run into you at I don't know if you ever go to the Dayton Ham Fest. I know I'd planned going this year. You know, they got canceled, but maybe if you're ever up there, I can meet you sometime. But all right, you have a good one. It's W7CSA. And you know what? Let me get your call sign again. I can never remember it.
Roger, Robert. The call sign is KC9VKV, Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor. Name is Jim, and we are located just on the other side of Louisville. The Ohio River runs between us, and we're just on the other side of the river, right at Louisville. Roger, we're in Indiana.
Yeah, roger that. Yeah, I got you up here. I always try to log everything. All right, Jim, you have a good one, and let someone else get in here. W7CSA, and I'll clear.
Roger, Robert, and if you want to hear your audio, go to YouTube, do a call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by today's date, 10/2/20, and that will take you right to this recording. So it's KC9VKV, 10/2/20 on a YouTube search, and it'll take you right to this recording. Threes to you, sir, and have a great afternoon, a beautiful weekend. This is KC9VKV, the QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Romeo Echo. Kilo India 4, Hotel Echo Echo.
Hotel Echo Echo. Come back with a call sign again.
Echo, come back with a call sign again.
Here is Kilowatt India 4, Hotel Echo Echo. Name here is Bob. I'm in Conway, South Carolina. I'll copy, over.
All right, Kilo India 4 Echo Echo. Is that a Roger?
Kilo India 4 Echo Echo. Is that a Roger?
Kilo India 4, Hotel Echo Echo. That's affirmative.
Hotel Echo Echo. Roger. And what's the name there?
Oh, Echo Echo. Roger. And what's the name there?
Name here is Bob. Bravo Oscar Bravo. Just don't call me late for supper. And I'm located in Conway, South Carolina. Over.
Roger, South Carolina. And what radio are you running, Bob?
Roger, South Carolina. And what radio are you running, Bob?
This is an old FT-897, Yaesu FT-897. I'm into an 80-meter Carolina Wyndham. And I've actually been tweaking and peaking this old D104 I just acquired. Had to rewire it, and I wanted to make sure I'm not going too hot on that trimmer pot that these things have. So I've got it stopped all the way down, and I just wanted to get a good report on how well I'm making it up to southern Indiana. Over.
Roger. Well, the D1. Now, I'm assuming that you have the amplifier for that mic, Roger?
You have the amplifier for that mic, Roger?
Yeah, this is a TUP9 bass. And from what I gathered, the only thing I had to do with it was basically resolder some wires. There's some cold solder joints. But this is like my third or fourth time working this mic, and I wanted to make sure that the mic is working, and it seems like it's doing pretty good for a 40-year-old mic.
Oh, I think it's older than that. Somebody said it was 80 years old. I don't know, but it could well be. Yes, I'm looking at your audio on a spectrum analyzer, and you're mostly a mid-range and top end. You don't have much of a bottom end. Now, you could stand a little more bottom to kind of mellow it out a tad if you might be interested. I'm not real sure. What kind of EQ do you have on that radio?
What kind of EQ do you have on that radio?
Not that much to speak of. As a matter of fact, it's kind of a basket case. The 897 display is pretty striped up, and I'm using a cat display to be able to see it. Consequently, though, I can't get into my menus too easily, and I can trim some of the sideband adjustments, but not that much, and I've got everything set to default. But in the meantime, yeah, the D104s are naturally real high-end. It's a high impedance crystal element, and the high ends are more prevalent. The amplifier on the D104 mics basically making an impedance matching device, but you still have a lot of high frequencies, little lows. I'm thinking about making a modification that's available where you put in a couple of different capacity, some capacitors that'll help bring down the low end. But in the meantime, I just wanted to make sure this thing is working. I too am on web SDR right now, monitoring the Washington D.C. located SDR 885B, and I'm able to see the display as well. It's fair to moderate from what I can see, but you have a much more qualitative assessment as far as I can tell.
Roger, Bob. Now, gosh, that microphone is sounding beautiful for D104, and so I'm assuming that since you're running it, it's exactly where you want to be, concentrating more on intelligibility than maybe QSO, QSO, for QSO, long QSO, it might be, a little too shrill for long range, long time, but for contesting it, I think is just beautiful because it really cuts. Now I'm just curious about you're listening on an SDR, and I would like for you to switch over to your local receiver and see if you have not a better copy on your local receiver than you do on the SDR. And I'll talk here just for a moment so you can maybe compare the two together, the SDR and your local radio, because I really think we are designed this station for maximum penetration through to the East Coast from Montreal to Miami, with a hotspot through the Carolinas. So we should be just direct 15 over. Roger.
15 over. Roger.
Copy that. Yes, you are. You're very good signal. I was actually monitoring you with my radio, but I was looking at the waterfall display on the SDR to see what flight is. Now I've trimmed back. As a matter of fact, I'm now hearing the echo caused by the monitor. Let me mute that. So I can tell I'm making it to you, but now I've quieted that down and I'm back up to my radio to monitor as well. So, yeah, but I appreciate you giving me the ideas. I'm definitely going to be adding the mod that allows me to boost some of the low end. I agree, it is a little bit hot, but it does punch through a pileup, that's for darn sure. This is an improvement over the Yaesu stock mic that came with the radio. It just didn't seem to have enough oomph, and this D104 has really improved my ability to get into a pileup. But I do definitely appreciate it, and I'll be monitoring your station on YouTube as well. Appreciate it. KC9VKV, I'll let you work on the stations. 7-3 from KI4HEE.
Roger, Bob. And just FYI, we do have a spectrum analyzer on our set, and it's monitoring both my audio and incoming audio. So it's monitoring all audio and displaying the frequency content. And so you can see precisely what your signal content is through this spectrum analyzer. We're coming through Rochester. So Rochester, normally SDRs do have a tendency to roll off on the bottom end somewhat, around 100 cycles or so. My local receiver is much more accurate. It's pretty highly modified in receive and transmit, and we pay particular attention to the audio spectrum all the way down to 100 cycles. Now, just a tip on your SDR monitoring. What I do is I have 4 notebooks, and I take the audio from those, and they come up on a 6-position rotary switch. And I can choose any one of those, and also my local receiver audio is on that rotary switch, so I can go through all of them. And obviously, when I hit my key, I mute. So even though I'm on an SDR, when I hit talk, it mutes the speaker, so I don't get that latency coming back situation. Roger.
Coming back situation. Roger.
copy that. I understand. I was doing the same thing. I just didn't hit that mute when I was coming back to you before. But, yeah, boy, these web SDRs sure do make it kind of nice and convenient. You can find one that's about in your the first bounce, first hop, and you can get a good tune in, get an idea of what people are hearing, and it's really cool. But I'm really thrilled over the prospect of people doing live streaming on YouTube. It allows callers to be able to actually see and hear the activity that's being received. I think that's a wonderful application of YouTube. Far a lot better content than what you normally find. Anyway, great chat with you. Thank you very much for the QSO and for the assessment. And I promise you, you'll hear more from me later. In the meantime, this is Kilo India 4 Hotel Echo Echo clear.
Roger, Roger, Bob. 3 is that way, sir, and you have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. And if you get a chance, join us next Friday for our QSO-VLOG. We record between 3:30 and 5, and then post it up on YouTube. And I think the neat part about that is that folks can go to YouTube and play it and listen to it and play it and listen to it. It's not like it's here, and it's so hard for somebody to try to make some kind of intelligent adjustment when they're listening to their own voice in real time. It's you have a much better perspective of what's going on if you're listening to a tape and because you can listen to it over and over again. Compared, the other thing about our QSO-VLOG network is that it's an hour and a half long, so we have a lot of folks checking in with a lot of different EQs and modulations, and we have the possibilities and capabilities of listening to a lot of other radios and deciding, hey, I don't like that, but hey, that's pretty neat there, and so we can catch inspirations from other folks and their audios and say, hey, well, let me try this and see if I can approach that, because we never really know what the capabilities are until we have the capability of experiencing them, and that's what our QSO-VLOG net is all about. Like I say, we go through a lot of different QSOs in 1 hour and a half show, so there are a lot of possibilities for other folks to listen and consider their situation versus the current audio, and plus the fact that we are running the spectrum analyzer, so they can see in real time what the sound looks like on the meter, and know that there's 3 marks on my spectrum analyzer. I have 3 white marks on the spectrum analyzer. The one furthest to the left is 100 cycles. So, furthest to the left is a white mark, and that's 100 cycles. Then, as you go to the right, there are 2 marks. The first mark is at 1 KC, and then there's a dark spot where there is no mark, and that's 2 KC, and the second white mark on the right is 3 KC, which is our bandpass there. So you can see exactly where your audio is running, your audio curve. Anyway, this is KC9VKV. We are listening for anyone who maybe wants to check out their radio. KC9VKV listening.
Check out their radio. KC9VKV listening.
Romeo Echo.
TV remote.
There's a Romeo Echo.
There's a Romeo Echo.
Kilo Juliet 4 Romeo Echo Zulu.
Okay, Romeo Echo Zulu, come back slowly phonetically with your call again, please.
Slowly phonetically with your call again, please.
Kilo Juliet 4 Romeo Echo Zulu.
Yes, sir. Well, when we edit this together, or when we edit out certain portions, we like to start with the call sign, and so we did. That's another reason for having you repeat your call sign. So if we break this one out, we'll have the call sign right at the beginning of the recording. What's the name there?
Of the recording. What's the name there?
It's Floyd, Jim. I'm just on a different radio. I was curious how it sounded. I'm on a ICOM 706, one of the originals from the 90s.
Roger, Roger. Well, it looks pretty good. Why don't you give me about 10 or 15 about your antenna system?
About 10 or 15 about your antenna system.
I'm just running a horse fence antenna, running about 110 watts, and up about 18 feet or so.
Okay, and what kind of EQ do you have on that radio?
What kind of EQ do you have on that radio?
It doesn't have one. It only goes too wide, and that's where it's at. It's maxed out. The compression is set from the factory, although you can get in there with a screwdriver and mess with it, but I don't mess with it at all. But I've got the compression on, and the mic gain, I think, is at a 6.
Looks good. I wouldn't change it. How old is that radio?
I wouldn't change it. How old is that radio?
I actually got this the other day. It was brand new in the box, but it was manufactured in 1996, and according to the serial number, it was the 100th one made. It still had the plastic on the front screen, so it's basically brand new. It smelled new when I took it out of the box, but I guess it's 24 years old, 25 years old.
Roger that. Now, it does have an ALC meter, Roger?
Now, it does have an ALC meter, Roger?
Yeah, and it goes halfway to 3/4.
Okay, just out of curiosity, give me a dead key there for about 3 seconds.
Give me a dead key there for about 3 seconds.
Yeah, a little bit of background noise. My wife's watching TV.
Roger, I'm seeing you with about 5 dB of audio, residual room noise audio. You've got a mic gain control, right?
You've got a mic gain control, right?
Yep, I just turned it down to number 5 there, KJ4REZ. Back to you, Jim.
Roger, now give me another dead key for 3.
Roger, now give me another dead key for 3.
Yeah, it sucks up, but I'm also on a internet SDR, and it also is AGC compression. So let me check my local antenna and see what kind of signal I've got. Come back and let me hear you.
All righty. Kilo Juliet 4, Romeo Echo Zulu.
Okay, I'm getting you much better on my local antenna. You're probably at 20 over. So give me another dead key now.
KJ4REZ.
Roger, you're well below 10 dB, so you're perfect. I wouldn't change a thing. Run it like that.
Okay, and it's still plenty loud. I turned it down to 5. I think it was at an 8 before.
Take it to a 6, and let me hear you.
KJ4REZ, testing 1, 2, 3. How's that sound?
Yes, sir. It sounds better. What happened when you went to a 5? You really thinned out EQ-wise, and that's the thing. When you start limiting, your EQ curve changes because of the ballistics change. So you needed a little bit more fatness. So you're on a 6 now?
Yeah, it's right at 6.
I would leave it there. I think that sounds good, and there's not much suck up. From the compressor, and since it's such a pain in the whatever to deal with, I think you're close enough, Roger.
All right, very good. Well, thank you for your time, Jim, and I know you're running out of time here, and I know there's some other people that keep trying to get in there, so I'll let you pick them up, and I'll try to catch you next Friday. You have a wonderful weekend. Kilo Juliet 4, Romeo Echo Zulu 73.
Roger, Floyd, and what's your location again, sir?
I'm in upstate Taylor, South Carolina.
Roger that. Well, 3's to you, sir. And again, if you want to hear your radio, it's beautiful audio, particularly after we went to our local receiver. If you go to YouTube, we'll call it a search, KC9VKV, followed by today's date, 10/2/20. And that will take you right to this recording. So 3's to you, sir. And if you get a chance, join us next Friday. We record live from 3:30 till 5. This is KC9VKV listening.
AI4 YTV remote.
YTV. Remote. Come back with the call sign again, phonetically slowly.
Sure, this is Kilo India 4 Yankee Tango Victor, and I'm remote on the laptop, Jim. This is Ed. Roger, over in Alabama.
Roger, Ed. Well, you just burnt my antenna off.
I wasn't trying to burn the antenna off, but I was just wondering if it was too hot because I'm using the microphone of the laptop with the RSBA1.
Roger. Now, you do have quite a bit of bottom end. Do you have any EQ capabilities in your lash up there?
Yeah, I got the microphone set. Let's see if I can bring it up. Let's see. My bass is on +3 because it's where I use it on the stock mic, and I can probably bring it down.
Yeah, take your bass to flat. Take your bass to flat, and let me hear you.
Transmit here.
We may have doubled it. Take your bass to flat and let me hear you.
All right, well, they're both at +1 at the moment, and I am on the laptop.
All right, tell me about your antenna system. I need to hear your audio at somewhat of a speech rate that I can discern what your dynamic range is, Roger.
Okay, I can do that. I'm using a 560-foot loop with a Dentron tuner, Dentron amplifier, and I'm using the RSBA1 remote on the laptop. So I'm not using the stock mic, just the mic in the computer. Roger?
Roger. Well, exceptional. I would be in preference to a little more top end, but I realize your limitations there in the circuit that you're using. But I could go for 3dV, more top end EQ for intelligibility, Roger.
Okay, I did that. Now I'm opposite as what I was on the stock. Like I'm +1 on the bass and +3 on the treble. And the compression's on 2, which is where I leave it set on the stock mic. And let's see, I can give it more. I can give it more mic gain, but I think I'm pretty well set here on my ALC. Roger.
Roger, you might want to pull it down. What is your mic level right now?
A little more than halfway. Let's see, I'll bring it down here. Let's see. I can go back. That's about halfway right there. Halfway on the microphone. Roger? Much better.
Try pulling it down just a tad more. Maybe 4 clicks from where you are.
Okay, let's see. Mic set. Why doesn't want to do it now? Finicky, that's why. Oh, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's 4 clicks back. We'll see how that is. Mary had a little lamb. Jim, I'm on the 7300. Roger.
Yeah, I think that's good. You got a little bit of room noise from time to time, but you're not going to be running that all the time. You're going to be running a normal station setup, right?
Yeah, I just playing around. Somebody sent me the software, and I figured I'd get an audio check with the laptop. But as far as the EQ, it's pretty good now.
Oh yeah, it's totally intelligible, and for your situation, I would go with it. All
right, so when I go back on the stock mic, I'll set it up the way I had it, and it's easy to remember because they're opposite. And thanks, Jim. KI4YTV. I'm off the key, and hopefully it's a lot of fun using a little remote, though. Because you can use the bass anywhere you got internet or a hotspot, Roger?
Roger that, for sure. Well, 3C Ed, thanks for checking in, buddy. Good to hear you, Roger.
Roger, KI4YTV from the front porch.
And we have somebody that just is keying every time between words. I'm not exactly sure what the reasoning is for that. Another dissatisfied QRMer, I guess. It's amazing. It's amazing how many dissatisfied QRMers there are in the world. I wonder if it has to do with politics or just a bad upbringing. It's hard to tell, you know, but there is definitely something afoot there with so many discontents. You know, when all they got to do is actually just join in and be, you know, human. But they tend to be sociopaths, and they enjoy QRMing for some reason. It gives them a great pleasure to try to obliterate their fellow hammers. And, you know, someday it will cost them a bunch, and we can only pray that that day will shortly come about. It'd be unfortunate for them because, you know, deliberately QRM is very, very expensive situation when you get caught. Anyway, this is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Whiskey Bravo 6, Quebec Echo X-Ray.
Whiskey Bravo 6, and the rest, give me the whole thing all over with phonetics.
Okay, Whiskey Bravo 6, Quebec Echo X-Ray, or Queen Elizabeth X-Rays, if you like it.
Roger, what's the name there, sir?
Name is Peter, Papa Echo Tear Echo Romeo.
Roger, Peter, now I'm starting to write Chinese. The latter moments of this show get very strange. Where are you located, sir?
Well, we're running an ICOM 746 Pro and a Shure 444 mic and a dipole antenna for 40 meters.
Roger, but where are you located, sir?
Sorry about that. About 10 miles north of Washington, D.C. in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Roger, and let's see, that's 746. You're running 100 watts, Roger?
No, right now we're running about 400.
Very nice. You know, I heard last Friday a gentleman had a box that he was doing 200 watts, and he had his radio driving it at 26 watts, and we did an A-B comparison from 100 watts on his radio to 200 watts with the box, and there was no difference, you know. So you really have to do a quantitative increase in power to be noticed, and you know, 1 to 5 is a nice increase. 1 to 10 is even better, Roger.
Roger that.
So let's see. Tell me about your antenna system.
Simple 40-meter dipole. Unfortunately, it's lower than it should be. It's about 30 feet, and it's oriented pretty much north and south, although at its height, that doesn't have too much to do with the lobes.
Okay, Peter, we can do a little fattening on your radio if you would like. It starts with you engaging your compressor at a 3. We have a very generic setup, but at the end of it you will have a 3 dB dynamic range with an average percent of peak modulation between 80 and 85%. And it starts with your compressor engaged at a 3.
Okay, I'll have to set up for that. Why don't you grab somebody else? Let me pull down the manual, and I'll join in after you help the next ham.
Let's tell you what, Peter, why don't I give you notes and you can do it at your leisure. The generic tune-up starts with the compressor engaged at a 3. You know, a very token amount, but it does exactly what it needs to do to precondition the audio for our 3 dB dynamic range. And, you know, what I'm saying is that normal transmitter is a 10 dB dynamic range, average peak modulation 30%. So what we're going to do is bring you up to a 3 dB dynamic range with an average of 80 to 85% of peak modulation. So it starts with your compressor engaged at a 3. Then move to your ALC with mic gain in hand and adjust your ALC to where it reads mid-scale to 2/3. mid-scale to 2/3 on the ALC meter by way of adjusting your mic gain control. Roger?
Roger that. Standby 1. Let's go back a little bit here. Right. No, a little bit. Let's do that. And mic gain we have to bring back a little bit. There we go.
It's kind of faded out right there at the end, but the way that you set your mic gain control for the ALC meter, you want to establish a good modulation profile so you can see exactly where your ALC meter is and you reading, and you can't do that like that. The best way I have found is to do a number count: 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 500, like that, so you have a consistent rate of speech to keep your meter up so you can read exactly where it's going as you adjust your mic level control for mid-scale to 2/3 reading. Roger?
Roger that, Jim. Let me pull out the manual, see how to best get into the ALC, and I will stand by while you handle another ham, and then I'll be all set to do it immediately.
Roger. Well, you've got it. You've got it. No need for me. Your EQ sounds good, so just crank in that stuff as it becomes available when you read your owner's manual. Roger.
Roger that.
So I'll say threes to you now, Peter, and crank in that stuff as you find it, and next Friday give me a shout, and we'll compare notes and see how it sounds, Roger. The point is that your ALC is your Bible. It will tell you exactly what your radio is doing better than your buddy down the street. So, the magic reading on that ALC meter is mid-scale to 2/3 by way of adjusting your mic gain control as you speak naturally, normally into your microphone at maybe just a little excess rate there to keep that meter up as you do that. Roger?
Roger that, Jim. One quick question for you. Aside from what we're doing, do you have any familiarity with butternut verticals?
No, I have nothing, no knowledge about verticals at all. I have done quite a bit of testing on antennas from, we're running two large 10-foot diameter vertical magnetic loops plus my dipole, and I've conducted multiple tests over many nights at SDR 600 miles away, and invariably I have been hotter on my transmitting on my dipole than on the the vertical mag loops. So I'm going for max as far as trying to radiate. I have them, my dipole strung out where it is primarily, we're working the East Coast from Montreal to Miami with a hotspot through the Carolinas. And so that's, we're set up that way on our dipole. And so it's hard for my mag loops in receive even to outdo my dipole antenna because it's so specially oriented, Roger. It's just right on the hot spot.
Understood, QSO. At any rate, thank you very much. We'll get set up for the next time we join you on a Friday. Have a very nice weekend, and 7-3 all, WV6 QES.
Roger, Peter 3-Set Waster, thanks for dropping by. And again, if you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by today's date, 10/2/20, that will bring up this recording. We have now about 1,300 QSO-VLOG recordings, so this way you should be able to get right to this recording as opposed to having to look for it. It's KC9VKV, followed by today's date, 10/2/20 on a YouTube search. This is KC9VKV listening. There was 7 stations, 7 stations. Loudest one, take it.
Willie Alpha 9 Echo, Kilo Quebec. Which one was that?
Kilo Quebec station. Come back with the call sign slowly, phonetically, please.
Okay, call here is Willie Alpha 9 Echo, Kilo Quebec. Name here is Matt, Mike Alpha Tango Tango.
Okay, now, as luck would have it, you dropped 20 dB from 5 seconds ago. So here we go. What's your location, sir?
ICOM 7300.
I copied 7300. What's the name?
ICOM, my God.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
Oh, the name is Matt. Mike Alpha Tango Tango.
Roger, Matt, and what's your location, sir?
It's about 100 miles south of Lake Superior in north central Wisconsin, my God.
Roger, and come back one more time with your call sign, slowly, phonetically.
Willie Alpha 9, Echo, Kilo, Quebec.
All right, sir. All right, and gosh, tell me about your antenna system. Let me listen to your radio.
Okay, the antenna system is inverted V, up about 35 feet, that's right.
All right, it's pretty short. Your audio sounded pretty good. I would love to hear more of it, though. I need to hear it to be able to figure out if we need to fatten it up or not, Roger. So give me about 15 seconds on a topic of your choice.
Okay, the rig here, I just kind of wondering if it was how it sounded down there. And we're running a SB200 amplifier, go ahead.
Now tell me something. Did your SB220 just kick in, or what? Because it just jumped 15 decibels just on a switch.
I just turned it on.
Well, gosh. I mean, Matt, put your best foot forward, Roger.
Okay, I just kind of wondering how the rig sounded down there and if it needs any adjustment.
Well, I think you made the major adjustment when you turned your amp on, Roger.
Roger.
I think that was the major. I don't think we're going to find anything near that interesting. But again, now that I can hear you, give me 10 to 15 seconds on what you like best about your radio.
Well, it'd be, previously I had a ICOM 746 Pro, and that kind of kept blowing the finals out. So I turned to the ICOM 7300.
Okay.
The mic gain is set at 50%. Compression is at 3.
Okay, Matt, you're committing one of the major sins. Never, ever have your monitor on when you're speaking. You never want to have that monitor on when you're actually talking, because it discolors terribly your audio. You may not hear it, but it does really discolor your audio. So keep your monitor off when you're QSOing, Roger.
Roger. I just turned it off, and now how does it sound?
A lot better. And so now, give me 10 seconds or 15 on your 7300.
Okay. Well, there I had to turn it down a little bit. I was getting a lot of some feedback. And how does that sound? Go ahead.
Yes, Matt, you're not listening to me. Turn your monitor off. You cannot run your monitor and talk. You cannot do that. It discolors your audio. So turn your monitor totally off, Roger.
Okay, the monitor is off.
Yes, and you really need to do that all the time when you're talking on the radio. Never use your monitor when you're talking on the radio, because it does discolor your mic. And you want the best sound you can possibly have, and you don't want to be shooting yourself in the foot by having that monitor on even at a 1. Roger? Hello, Matt.
Yeah, you kind of dropped out on me.
I'm sorry?
The monitor is off at the present time, and we're using the SB220 on low power. And like I say, I'm getting a little bit of feedback.
Yes, and is that coming from your monitor? Is it coming? The feedback coming? I think it's coming from your monitor. So turn your monitor off, Roger.
The monitor is out. It's coming from the mic.
From what though? How is it getting feedback from where?
Boy, I do not know where it's coming from.
Okay, well, I tell you, let me just give you a hint there. What you want to do is find out where that feedback is coming from, because it is really, apparently maybe you're getting RF in the AF. That could be. But you need to track that down. And if you're getting RF into your AF, what you may need to do is to work on your ground system, trying to get a better ground, particularly off your power amp. I run 3 different grounds, because it didn't make much sense to me to tie my mic preamp ground to my power amp ground. So I have a separate ground for the power amp, I have a separate ground for the radio, and actually there's 2 grounds tied together for the rest of the system, and just 1 ground for the power amp, the antenna selector, and the antenna tuner. I do not use the antenna tuner, but I do use the SWR meter bridge in the antenna tuner. Roger?
Okay, I just kind of moved back a little bit here from the radio, and I'm still getting a little bit of feedback, but not as bad.
Yeah, so even a little bit is too much. You don't want to have that happening. So I would suggest that you work on trying to eliminate that feedback. I'm assuming that your monitor is at 0, is off, and that feedback it sounds acoustic. I don't know exactly why, but it does sound acoustic. So look around. You should be able to tell where that noise is coming from. If it's acoustic, you'll be able to hear it other than right around your microphone. If it's electronic, you won't hear it acoustically. Roger?
Roger. Well, it just started today. This is the first time it ever happened.
Roger that. Well, that's a mystery of electronics. The thing is, things happen on a regular basis, and we just have to deal with them as they come up. So look at that as this week's challenge. Roger?
Roger. We shall check into that.
Roger, you were pretty in the clear there, but I would say, your ideal setup for that 7300 is mic gain, a compressor at a 3. Engage your compressor. I'll give you notes, so you can crank them in at your leisure. Compressor engaged at a 3. Then move to your ALC meter, and with mic gain in hand, and as you speak normally, naturally, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, you adjust your ALC meter by way of your mic gain control for mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Roger.
And I think that would do you there. Crank those in as you become capable. Roger?
Roger. Thank you much. And the compression is just kind of kicking up just a little bit. The ALC is right about 50%.
Roger. Now you might, what mic is that?
It's a standard ICOM mic that came with the radio.
It's the hand mic?
Roger.
All right, now a hint on how to operate that hand mic. Pull it to the side of your mouth and talk across it. Do not talk directly into it. Pull it to the side of your mouth where it actually touches the side of your mouth and talk across it. Roger?
Okay, now how does that sound?
You faded down just a little bit. Come back and try it again.
Okay, how does that sound? We're probably about 6 feet away from the radio with the hand mic, and talking across it, okay?
Roger, you're only about 1.5 dB over my noise level, but I think that would sound good. The idea is that you work across that mic to keep mouth noises, pops and bops and all that stuff from getting into your audio. So when you talk across it, pull it to the side of your mouth and talk across it, you eliminate all those noises. Roger?
Roger. I keep forgetting to hit the foot switch here on the amplifier.
Right, you might want to automate that. I tried that when I first was, got the amp to try to run it, but it works so much better when you automate that. Roger?
Roger. I did have a system set up, but I kind of lost it. I was kind of inactive there for quite some time. So I got to find me a relay system that'll go from 120 volts down to 12 volts.
Roger. Well, happy hunting there, and I think you'll be much satisfied when you solve that dilemma. So you have noise in your transmit, and then you have your relay problem to work out. So maybe by next Friday you can check in, and you'll have all that running. Roger?
I have a very limited supply or places to go for supplies up here. It's just a little bit of a town. It's about 600 population.
Roger, but then there's Amazon Prime. Anything overnight, Roger?
Roger.
So let me jump out of here. Man, I have become a pumpkin for 10 minutes now. I am pumpkinized. I got to get out of here. So I'll say threes to you, sir. And you have a great afternoon, good weekend. Roger?
Roger. 73s, have a good day and stay warm.
Roger, threes to you, sir. And that will conclude our QSO-VLOG net for Friday afternoon from 3:30 till 5. We have been recording live. If you have participated and want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by today's date, 10/2/20. That will bring you up to this recording, and so it's easy to get to, and then you'll be able to hear your audio. So without further ado, let me return this frequency to normal amateur radio use. This is KC9VKV Clear.